Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
A stone fucking killer, my dad. Shortly after that episode, he decided to retire. He says, I'm too old to kick indoors and assassinate people. That's my benchmark. Asked to come out of retirement to handle the Sirhan Robert Kennedy assassination for the United States government. Because they didn't want to fucked up like JFK's investigation. Stone fucking killer. There was no room for failure. Who had a son who couldn't catch a ball. Just think about that. And then we got you. There's some of you in this room that can't catch a ball. Metaphorically speaking, not a real ball. Otherwise, QLA would have latched on. Look at Gabriel, did it before he ever came to the seminar. How's that possible? Now, this is my neighborhood last week. This is my neighborhood in East LA last fucking week. This is how I was raised. Most of you kids wouldn't get past 12 or 13 years old in my neighborhood. You'd be dead. So when I look at you, you can imagine what I'm thinking. And the guys got away. The guys got away. But the poor fucking Marine that chokes the skinny black kid, who had been in jail 43 times, unless he's got a good lawyer, one of the best, he's going to go to prison for a long, long time. That's my dad's funeral. And then we've got your parents. Fine role models that they were. And how's their plan worked out? That's the difference. But you don't have to be me, 1% of me. And you struggle even with that. Whoops. Oh, yeah. Conglomerator. This is a Nelly's schedule. This is interesting, Raymond. This is maybe the only thing that you can pick up and add to your arrows to your quiver. This is that he does on a daily basis. My acquisition program is in full swing. I am at a minimum of 25 to 35 new acquisition targets per week and person from Monday to Sundays, failing which my PAs are fired. The typical life cycle of my PA is 4 to 6 months. I said 2 to 4 months. 4 to 6 months as a result. My 7 days weekly diary has 5 key entries. 1, meeting and presenting to financial institutions, bankers, PE funds, family offices, and insurance companies. 2, meeting sellers. I prefer in-person visits than online meetings. Online meetings are like telephone sex. You will never make a baby. 3, meeting transaction advisors, legal or accountants, for their services and additional acquisition references. 4, meeting business brokers. And 5, meeting any credible individual that can refer me to the above. And he's now approaching his 5th year of doing this, average 120 hours a week. And he's already got 191 or 2 million EBITDA. And he's still doing this. Read it and weep, guys and gals. Not dissimilar to my own. I'm not going to ask you, like the Dutch girl said that she most related to Steve Jobs. I already told you about that, which I flew down and choked her. My entire cadre of seminar attendees weren't one shit that Steve Jobs took vis-a-vis brains. Not one piece of caca. You want the big money, you have to make the big sacrifices. It's very simple. Who's my 5:30 today? 6. 6:30. I will bet both of my testicles I have a 6:30. This is what I have to deal with. Any questions about this regimen or schedule or protocol that Anelli follows? I'm not going to ask you to compare it against your own, because I know better than that. We all need a good laugh, but not before dinner. Now, while Raymond's here, we talked about Barron Trump. What are your takeaways from he answered questions this morning. He answered a few questions last night. But anything else you want to ask him about last night, today, or what's your takeaway, what your impression is? I'm not going to ask you to compare yourself to him because I don't want you to lie. Your silence speaks volume. But leave it to one stupid Dutch man. Okay? You.
Well, I at least want to. I at least want to thank you a lot. I learned a lot from you yesterday evening, and today. It gives me a system to this madness, and I think we're very similar process-wise. And I also applaud that it's also possible just to strive ahead and not know the finery of the machines. And I think I can learn a lot from that. So that was my takeaway, is that you give me a lot of tools and a system that makes it very easy, more easy even, to follow, because you already gave the fundament. So for me, thanks a lot. It brought me a lot. It made a very clear path to do and how to do it, and gave me a line of sight.
And remember, 99% of the people that do this don't follow that system. 99% of the people that are there and should be up there don't follow the Raymond system. What Raymond does and what Gabriel does doesn't mean you can. It's like the questions that they were asked of the Belgian Waffle and the other people that you've heard. The idiotic questions. Just because they say, how many cold calls? Just because somebody made 700 cold calls or 1,200 cold calls doesn't mean you're going to do it in 700 or 1,200. That has no bearing on reality. None. Zero. In fact, it's probably a disproportionate relationship. I told you in the beginning that the people that have some sales skills, not my sales skills, some have an advantage. And you do. But we're talking about, micro inches. We're not talking about it's twice as easy for you or You have some advantage. And we've learned over the years, whether you've got an education, you don't have an education, whether you're in the military, we used to do special programs for military, active duty military, and they didn't work. They didn't work. Most military people that get off military, they're used to 2 checks a month. I'm sorry to say. I've been working 7.5 years, almost 8 years, on the program Boots to Suits, from the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, coming out of the Marine Corps. Am I going to get a check twice a month? No. Most of the training in the military, they teach how to get a job at Walmart because certain companies hire more, as they should. But this program is not to get a job. This is to be an entrepreneur, to create a future, a life, and create generational wealth. And that's so far out of the comfort zone, not just in the military. I stopped giving interviews at universities. Shit. In the late 2007, 8, before the last financial crash. And they couldn't relate to it. They couldn't relate. And we've gone through interns. We've tried everything known to man, every system. And they'll read in the newspaper, a kid from Harvard MBA school started at $540,000 a year. The number one guy in the planet. Well, how does that relate to my free founders equity? Well, it doesn't. You're going to be hiring those guys at 540, but they're going to come to work for you for 140. But if you don't do it, and you do the equivalent of what I call spreadsheeting, or what I used to call back in the day Lotus 1, 2, 3, it's not going to happen. It just will not happen. And you don't show the Down syndrome because I don't think that's right. But you would cry to see those kids work. You would fucking cry. And how successful they are. To see a Down syndrome kid have 2 personal assistants, one went to Princeton, one went to Yale, that are his assistants. And then we got you. Any other questions? Yes, sir, in the back.
Besides taking fucking action, can you break down this model? I mean, could you equate the whole QLA model to people and perception? Is that correct?
The kids say, I told you last night, you only have 2 times to make a first impression. 1, when they see you. 2, when you open your mouth. And normally you stick your foot in your mouth or worse, because your communication skills are piss poor. The first step of the 7 steps is build your own personal foundation. And there's 5 or 6 steps in that. And I tell you to go to Rotary. I tell you to go to the club you can't afford. I tell you to join the club you can't afford. I tell you all these things, which most of you don't do it. And when you join the clubs you can't afford, you get on 2 committees. You get on the finance committee and you get on the membership committee. You don't get on the golf committee and Christmas, all that horse shit. Because then you have the ability to cherry pick people as you see them go through. Almost every club that's worth a shit in Europe and in America have junior programs. If you're less than 40, if you're less than 35, if you're less than 30, if you're less than... And they give you 4 million years to pay. All these clubs have special programs for women. Doesn't matter. They don't even ask your fucking age. Because you can't ask a slag that squats to pay her how old she is now. I still ask those questions. You're going to have kids? You can't do that. I'm 70, almost 78. I'm not changing now. If you don't like it, don't come for the fucking interview. If you can't Google me and figure out I'm a Neanderthal bastard, you're an idiot. And people still line up. Because they want to be associated with somebody that makes shit happen. And that's not you. I'm called a rainmaker. I make it rain when the sun's out. And I've been doing it 50 years. You, when you follow the steps, the way you're supposed to follow the steps, as Gabriel said, and the pig fucker alluded to, it's a building block process. By the time you get to the board, which is not that hard, and you get to the big accounting firms, and you get to the big law firms, you have made 50, 60, 80, 200 presentations. And nobody in this room's done that. Nobody. And you wonder why you come back for a second time or a third time. Andres, I said yesterday, has followed the program as close as anybody in my 30-year career. He's about 95%. It's no accident that 70% of the Hall of Famers in recent years are all Germanic. Gabriel doesn't like to be called, but he's from Austria. Because the Germans are a little slow, but when they get it, they get it. But not all of them get it. But when they do get it, they motherfucking get it. Because, they know how to follow orders. I believe that Hitler proved that right. But the rest of you are comme ci, comme ça. I'd rather you be lucky than smart. But see, you don't want to be lucky. You want to actually be smart. And that's where you fail. Because there's not a smart fucker in this room. Raymond aside. I lost more brains when I took a shit this morning than this room's got. And I've said that for 30 fucking years. And I've been acting for 30 fucking years. Because it's not the brain power that you have or the utilization of that brain power. It's the will to fucking try and fail and fail and fail. And you don't have that fucking will today. And if you don't have it, if you haven't conjured it up and you haven't grabbed yourself by the sacks by the end of the week, you're going to fall on your fucking dick and fail again. We created something from nothing. Over $2 trillion now. And it's not that hard. If you want it more than you breathe. I'll see the 5:30 at 5:30. I'll see the 6 o'clock at 6. I can't believe I'm losing my voice the first day. Normally I don't lose my voice until the third and fourth day. And can't find somebody the 6:30, even though they're too stupid to figure it out yet. I know I have a 6:30. You're the 6:30. Did you raise your hand before? No. When? It's like when the pig fucker said, "Are there any English?" And they said, "No." Then the third question says, "My name's John, I'm from London." That's you. Okay, YouTube, go fuck yourself.